Hello. We meet today for the first time in 8 weeks. Over the past year, the church has been open and then closed and open and then closed. And this is only the second Sunday in 2021 that we've actually met. Just over a year ago, we were hearing stories of a disease that was circulating in China and spreading its way across to Northern Europe called COVID-19. And on the 5th of March 2020 is when the first recorded death from COVID-19 occurred in the UK. And I remember at the time, at least a couple of weeks before that, we had a meeting of a local group of volunteers who help at the Grassington Festival. It's a summer arts and music festival that takes part in the village. And we had a meeting of the committee, and a visitor came to speak to us who was a supplier to the NHS. And he was talking about the pandemic, particularly overseas, and what effect it could have within the UK. Now, at the time, people were talking down the effects of the pandemic. People, scientists and various learned people were saying it'll not affect us to that extent. And as the man spoke, he was a little like an Old Testament prophet. He was talking gloom and doom and despair. And we were all like kind of looking round and thinking to ourselves, well, could it possibly get to that? What effect could it have upon us and indeed upon the festival? One or two people laughed. A couple of other people thought, no, it'll not get to us. Yet from that time, within 3 weeks, the end of March 2020, began the first lockdown. And had we have known then what we know now, things may have been radically different. There was a sense of fear. There was a sense of uncertainty. There was a sense of the unknown. And we've been in and out of lockdown since. And as we stand here today, at the beginning of March in 2021, it is with deep regret that we mourn the loss of 130,000 people who've lost their lives and many others as a result of the effects of the pandemic. Our attitudes have changed, our lifestyles have changed, and in some respect, we are not the same people we were just 12 months ago. The novelty of being in your home, in your own little environment, in your own bubble has worn off. Homeschooling has had an effect upon the lives of children and young people, and for that matter, parents. People are craving for the social interactions. Tomorrow, the 8th of March, will be the first time for over a year within the UK where care homes will open its doors to visitors to be able to go, to touch and to embrace their relatives, but only one-on-one. The effects have been enormous. And I know technology is great and it affords me the opportunity to speak to you right now, but I walk around the village where I live and I chat to people and I share with people, and I'm awestruck that as people share with me and talk to me, I am amazed how thankful I am for simply that gift of life, when so many others have lost their lives. Today our reading from John chapter 5 comes on the occasion when Jesus is on his way up to Jerusalem for a feast. There are recognized feasts within the Jewish calendar where all males were required to go up to Jerusalem. There's the Feast of Passover, the Feast of Pentecost, the Feast of Tabernacles. Those were three main feasts, and you were required as a male to go up to Jerusalem to celebrate those feasts. And en route, Jesus would meet up with people, perhaps acquaintances and people and places where he had stayed before, as he made his way from Galilee in the north to Jerusalem further south. There'd be stepping points along the way. He would be reunited with people upon that journey. And now he finds himself at the pool called Bethesda. There's a pool whose healing waters are for those who get into the water, touch the water, and miraculously they are healed. And as he is there, this place is a meeting place for the sick, the lame, the paralyzed, and they all sit about the healing waters of the pool. And yet in our story, there is one man who has been at this place for 38 years. Wow, 38 years. By now, no doubt, he is a local celebrity. People know who he is. They think, well, he's been here, oh yeah. And he no doubt makes quite a bit of living from sitting there begging by the pool. And one day, Jesus comes along and asks him the question, do you want to get well? He's not asked him for healing. The man has not said to Jesus, please, can you heal me? In fact, he doesn't even know who Jesus is. Is he happy, I wonder, living in the misery or living in his circumstance, living the way he is? Jesus asks, do you want to get well? And then follows that up with the phrase, pick up your mat and go. And the man picks up his mat and is upon his way. Do you want to get well? There's a sense in which we have become comfortable in the circumstances we find ourselves, or we have got used to this lifestyle we now find ourselves in, that venturing out or doing something different or perhaps changing our circumstances is quite difficult. And what you notice in the story as you read on in chapter 5 of John's Gospel is the reaction of people to the man's healing. There are authorities who say, well, what are you doing carrying that mat? They can't see the man who's been healed. All they can see is that he's carrying a mat on the Sabbath day. They don't know who he is. They've no idea who has healed him, but he's carrying a mat on the Sabbath day. He has broken the law. They're not talking about extending kindness to him, but he's broken the law. They're not talking about reaching out to help him. He's broken the law. They're not talking about comfort or healing or lifestyle changes. All they can see as they look through this narrow pathway of lifestyle, he has broken the law. Life is a gift. And we will go around and share around, and we'll be thinking about the imposed restrictions upon our lives for the safety of ourselves, for the safety of our fellow citizens. Do your bit, as they say. But there comes a point at which we need to reach out to others, the people who perhaps are lonely, the people who are needing that social interaction, the people who are needing a friendly voice, people who are needing some comfort, some kindness, a word of encouragement. The New Testament story highlights those who perhaps can only see the man in a particular way. Some will say, he's the beggar that sits by the pool. Others will say, why are you breaking the law carrying your mat on the Sabbath day? Jesus simply says, do you want to get well? Do you want to change the circumstances of your life by offering him healing and comfort?